Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today I have a really fun video. I'm going to be unboxing for the first time a brand new fragrance line for me called Dossier, and I'm going to share with you what I think about in terms of comparing that to some of my higher end designer fragrances. So you want to check out all my thoughts on this new fragrance line for me. Definitely keep on watching. For those of you who might be new here, thanks for checking this out. I'm a full-time working mom, but in my spare time I really love making these videos on fashion, beauty, mommy lifestyle. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, definitely check out my other videos linked down below, and please also consider hitting that subscribe button. Okay, so for today, I want to thank Dossier for sending me this little sample here to try out for you and give you my first impressions and thoughts on the line and this perfume. And otherwise, this video, just so you know, is not sponsored at all, so these opinions are truly my own, and I'm really going to give you my first impressions since I have not tried this out yet. So here is what I received in the mail from Dossier, and for those of you who might not be familiar, this is a line of high-end fragrances. However, they really strive at keeping their price points as low as possible while still delivering the designer luxury quality. So if you've been watching my channel for any bit of time, you'll realize that I am a lover of fragrances. So when I was younger, in high school and college for instance, I just couldn't afford the designer and luxury fragrances. Although I just loved trying them out, I really didn't splurge on them because I thought, gosh, how can I pay so much really for a small bottle of perfume? I mean, it just killed me. So I really didn't use a lot of designer fragrances. I used a lot of mall brands and other things. So now as I've gotten older though, I've been lucky enough to be able to try out and splurge on more designer and luxury fragrances, which I just love sampling. And I essentially wear fragrance every single day. And if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that I have done previous videos on some fragrance hauls, and every beauty haul that I have essentially also includes a new fragrance. I think getting a new fragrance every season, for instance, really puts you in the mood for that season and time of year, and it really just changes up the mood of the day as well, depending on what you select. So I just love playing around with these fragrances. The problem is, of course, the price point. So for these reasons, I think Dossier is going to be a company that's really up my alley because they really put out inspired fragrances and inspired by your really well-known and loved luxury high-end fragrances. So I'm excited to try out the line. If you are curious in trying out Dossier fragrances for yourself as well, definitely consider using the link down in the description box below, and you will receive a discount as well on your purchase. Okay, so here is how it came like to me. It's a beautiful clean packaging, which I just love, these clean lines. And in this box here, it's really well packaged. It opens up, and as you can see here, it says iconic scents, designer quality, no markups. Really everything I stand for, I think. It has a really nice little card here with a bottle on it, and then on the back it has the fragrance you picked. So I selected the fragrance Woody Sage. So it tells you a little bit about the fragrance here, the notes of it, and it tells you about, let's see, the concentration and how it works. So this line of fragrances are ordered online essentially, and I believe it was created in France but is based out of New York, and they mail you these fragrances, so it's super convenient as well. And you can pick from so many different varieties of fragrances on there. And I really love how each selection tells you what it's inspired by. So if you want to pick a certain perfume out that's a designer perfume, you can look for it on the Dossier website and essentially find a dupe for it. So that's what's really fun about this line, I think. So what this comes with are 2 items in the box. So the first is this little sample perfume tester. And then you have your actual bottle. So the purpose of this is you can try out the fragrance first with this to see if you like it. If you don't like it, then you can just send everything back, which is super convenient. I think it's always a little bit nerve-wracking to just order fragrances based on descriptions online without actually sampling them for yourselves in person. So this way it's really convenient and easy, really no risk, because if you don't like the fragrance when you try it out, you can just send it back and you don't have to keep it. So I just love this little sample spray tube here, but I will be keeping this, so I don't necessarily need to use this right now. I'm going to go ahead and go for the big bottle. But here is what the big bottle looks like, and again, this one is called Woody Sage. So So the reason behind why I selected Woody Sage, for a lot of you, I think would be no surprise, because as you probably know, my all-time favorite fragrance is Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. So I've talked about this Jo Malone fragrance so many times on this channel. I've ordered it and reordered it many, many times. I have one of the most recent large bottles I purchased, which I actually haven't opened yet, but it's right here. It's the classic good old Wood Sage and Sea Salt from Jo Malone. I just love this fragrance because I think it's so buildable. It's a fresh scent. It's not too overly floral. Sometimes the really, really feminine, overly floral scents are a little much, especially in my workplace and healthcare. I have to be pretty careful about fragrances I wear, but this is just perfect. So I can wear this to work. I think it's really just a clean, fresh scent, and especially for this time of year and warmer months, I think this really, really picks me up during the day. So I love this fragrance. Can't say enough good things about it. The problem is, of course, it's pretty pricey. So when I saw that Dossier made a Woody Sage that was inspired by the Wood Sage and Sea Salt, I mean, it was a no-brainer. I had to select this one to test out. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my true first impressions. I have not sampled this before, so I want to see if it compares to my good old favorite. So let's test it out. Well, first of all, I noticed it's a really nice mechanism of the bottle here because it's a magnetized cap. So you can see that there, and I really like that. I think that's really fun and unique, and it makes sure the cap just nicely goes in place, and I think it'll keep it fresher longer likely. So I love that mechanism. I haven't seen that before in a lot of fragrance bottles, to be honest. So Woody Sage here, in terms of the notes, they describe it as a top notes of fig tree and grapefruit, and then middle notes of marine notes and ambrette. So I had to look up what this was, but I think ambrette or ambretti is a plant found in India. It's a medicinal plant. It has a little bit of a musky scent to it, but that's one of the middle notes. And then the base notes are clary sage and amberwood. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it out here. So as you can see, the spray is really nice. It's a fine mist. So really nice application, and no kidding, it really is an amazing dupe. I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, to be honest. This really smells like Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Let me try and compare it to my good old favorite here. So let me spray a little bit higher up on my arm. Okay, so this is pretty amazing. I'm not just saying this, but the Woody Sage actually smells almost identical to Wood Sage and Sea Salt. If I had to draw a little bit of a comparison, I will say that the Woody Sage version is a little bit of a sweeter note than Wood Sage and Sea Salt, but just a touch, not overly so. But I think that's a slight difference that I pick up, at least on my body. Oh gosh, but it's pretty close to the Jo Malone version, I'll have to say. So I am very impressed, I'll say, with my first impressions. I think, yeah, you pretty much wouldn't be able to tell unless you had it head to head on the same arm like this. So I really do think they smell almost identical, maybe a little sweeter with the Woody Sage. And I almost hate to say this, but I kind of like the Woody Sage maybe a little bit better. It has a little bit more of a sweet note, which I kind of like as well. I think it's a little bit more feminine. So while I will still be using this, no question, I think this is a great alternative for a lot of situations. So to be honest, I use this a little bit sparingly. I don't use it every single day. I have some other fragrances I tend to use on a daily basis because I try to use this for more special-ish type of occasions. I mean, not totally special occasions because I have other perfumes for those events, but this one I don't use every day because it's a little pricey and I don't want to use it just to go to the park, for instance. But something like this, I can get really a great dupe for the Jo Malone, and it's a lot more affordable. So I will be using this on the day-to-day. So I think I'm going to be using this just when I go to the park, grocery store, just everywhere. I think it's perfect for that because you have the same real fragrance. So because this is a lot more affordable, I am not going to feel as guilty burning through it as quickly. So I'm going to be using this on the daily, I can tell you that much. So in terms of comparisons, in terms of price, there is a huge comparison, and that's the main difference here. And I think what Dossier can really offer us is the price point. So this bottle of Woody Sage is 1.7 ounces. This bottle is double that, to be honest, because I never get the smaller bottles of this Jo Malone because I love it so much. This, I believe, yes, is a 3.4 ounce. So this is double what this is. But if you look online on their website, they do offer a 1.7 ounce of the Wood Sage and Sea Salt on Jo Malone. So if you compare the equivalent sizes, so both 1.7 ounces of these perfumes, the Woody Sage clocks in at $29, which is amazing. The equivalent amount of the Jo Malone Wood Sage and Sea Salt retails for $100. So for the same amount of perfume or fragrance, you pay $100 from Jo Malone versus paying $29 from Dossier. Plus Dossier has a lot of other deals as well. So if you buy multiple fragrances, you get deals, I believe. If you use a discount link down below as well, you can save some money. So on top of the $29, you will save additional money. So this is a ton more affordable. It's really hard to believe given that it really, I think, is a great dupe. So overall, I'm super impressed. I'm excited to try out different fragrances as well and compare them to my iconic luxury ones. So if you love fragrances like I do, I definitely recommend checking out this line. You get essentially the same type of scents that you're so accustomed to paying so much money for. And these days, who isn't trying to save a little money, right? So definitely totally impressed with my first impressions. I will let you know going forward in other videos what I think about them in terms of the wear potential, in terms of some of the other fragrances in the line as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll plan to see you again in my next one. Take care. Bye.